every day to define man's mission. Look into the sky for divine transmission. Deaf man's vision makes the blind man listen. Eyes on the prize, this is blind ambition. Thank you.
What's going on, world? Welcome to episode 2 of Road to the Oddball Chronicles. I'm your host, Michael Serial Sensei Williams. It is 9:30 in the morning. I did not think I was going to start my day off by recording, but I figured I would do this because plans in my book rollout have changed. But change is for the better. But before I get to that, thank you to everybody who listened to the first installment of this series. Also, thank you to everybody who checked out my other podcast, the Dojo Talk podcast. We put out an impromptu episode literally following UFC 229 right after it ended. We recorded till like 3:30 in the morning, but the numbers on that episode, that's probably it's got to be one of our highest listened to episodes. Like within a day, I think we hit 100, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for our little small podcast in this little corner of the world, for us to get that in like a day was pretty awesome. I don't know if we'll keep that steam going. I hope so, but thank you to everybody who listened to that. That was really awesome to wake up to this morning. But back to the Oddball Chronicles. So, as I stated earlier, things in this rollout have changed, but change is good. Change is for the better. So I had submitted my book to Amazon to set up for a pre-order, and when I set up for it, they said it takes up to 72 hours, I believe, to get verified, blah blah blah. So I'm like, all right, cool, I'll just wait a couple days, get the email, and then I'll put the pre-order up. And then I got an email about an hour later, and it was already set up. So I say that to say this: if you can hear my voice, pre-orders for the Oddball Chronicles are now available, starting at a very low price, 99 cents. So I'm literally just asking you, just let me borrow $1. just let me borrow $1. I would greatly appreciate it. So links to the pre-order will be in the description below. So just give that a look. If you follow me, or if you're friends with me on Facebook, I'll be posting it all over Facebook. If you follow me on Twitter, it'll be on there. I'll also be doing updates on my WordPress, so I'll keep you guys updated literally with every step I do. So everybody will all be on the same page. There'll be no confusion. Everybody will know what's going on at the same time, in real time as it happens. So, pre-orders are up now. So, go hit that link. Let me borrow $1. And the release date will be November 12th. So that gives me about a month's time, roughly. So November 12th, 2018, that is the release date of the Oddball Chronicles. And just to clear up a few things, like I said, so everybody's on the same page, this is going to be, at least for now, because I'm still kind of learning everything, and it's much easier for me to manage my book on just one platform as opposed to multiple, at least as of now. I'm just still trying to get my feet wet with all of this. So as of now, it is only going to be available on Amazon, just for now. That probably will change in the future, but just to keep everything in one centralized location as of right now, I feel like that's easier for me, that's easier for you guys, so you all know where it is. You just got to go to one spot. You do not need an Amazon Kindle to read this, though if you have one, of course, that helps. If you do not have a Kindle, you'll notice when you click on the pre-order link, when you go to the page where the book is at, there is a link right under the price that says read. That says read with our free app, and you can read it. You can literally just read the book through the app. You can also, if you want to, go to Amazon. Just go to the search bar, type in Kindle Cloud Reader. I'm guessing that's the same app that this may redirect you to, but just so you know, FYI anyway. If you go to the Kindle Cloud Reader, you can click on that on Amazon, and once you buy a book, it'll send the book to your cloud reader. And the cloud reader you can access literally just through your web browser, so you don't have to have a Kindle. I believe you can also download it in the app stores. So you have multiple ways to read it. You do not have to have a Kindle to read the book. And if you're having any technical problems, or that's confusing, let me know. Just reach out to me. We'll work something out. If it comes down to it, when the book releases, I'll just email you a copy of the book. I'll send you a PDF or something. But no, like I said, you can read it on the Kindle, and you can either read it on the Kindle, or you can just download the Kindle Cloud reader, and you can read it through there. And that is not an app you have to pay for or anything like that. You can just read it straight through your browser. And November 12th. So thank you for anybody who pre-orders. Definitely appreciate it. The reason I'm actually recording this, well, for one, I didn't think the pre-order link was going to go up so fast. And two, I kind of figured if I'm going to put the pre-order up and reveal all the artwork, I might as well talk about the actual book. I didn't plan on doing this episode until the last one in the series. I was going to release this as the last one right before the book releases, but in my mind, I figured it wouldn't make sense for me to put up a pre-order link, and nobody really know what the book is about. Though, I would appreciate the support if you pre-ordered anyway. But, I feel like it's kind of fair that you, even though it's, I'm only asking for $1. It's not a lot. But even for just that $1, you deserve to know what it is that you're potentially getting into. So I'll just kind of run down what got me here, why it took me so long to finish this, and I'll talk about some characters in the book, some themes in the book, all that good stuff. So I guess we can start this back from the beginning. I want to say I started this in 2013, but I feel like I started this earlier. But when I check, like, literally my Word documents, and I look at the dates they were created, I have so many versions of this typed in my computer. The earliest date I can find is 2013, but something tells me I started this earlier. But either way, I started this a long time ago. It seems like eons ago. And I had to get back into writing to even get into this. And what I mean is, I wrote a lot, throughout teenage years, and I would say like young adult years, like basically like just like high school kind of, and a little bit after that. But eventually I'd hit this point for a couple of years where I had actually just stopped writing. Like I wasn't really, I wasn't writing like at all. I had pretty much full gear switched on to doing music. And I went to a recording school. I had majored in mass communications, so I had access to a studio. So I was helping friends record, and engineering was like really my thing. That was what I spent a lot of my time doing. Like I said, helping friends record, just being in that kind of environment. And I really enjoyed it. Enjoyed it so much that I decided, I'm just going to go to an audio school and really like go hard with this. So I went to Sheffield Institute, which is in Phoenix, Maryland. I think I was there, man, what year was that? Was that 2011? Sometime around, give or take a year. I went there, met a lot of really talented people, learned a lot about the recording process and in terms of music, and even how to like set up a live stage. And it was really fun, man. It was a really, really great experience. And I say that to say I went through all of that. To realize I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. And that was kind of a hard pill to swallow, because I really, really do love music. Like, if you've known me for the longest time, if you've known me since like high school, I've always was the person who just used to walk around with headphones on all day. Even people who knew me in college, that's just what I did. I was the guy who I always had headphones on. I was always listening to something. And I've been like that since forever. Like since I had like a CD player when I was younger, and even listening to like cassette tapes back when that was a thing. But yeah, I finished audio school and I was like, I don't know if I really want to do this anymore. And that kind of sucked. So, for a while you just kind of spend your time, I'm just kind of lost. Just like, well, what do I really do now? So I go back to college. Had to finish out my degree, that's a whole nother. it's a whole nother story I don't even want to get into. But what got me back into writing actually was I took a class called electronic media, writing for electronic media, something like that. And that class really gave me the itch to start writing again. But I'd actually, when I first jumped back into writing, I was writing scripts. And scripts are cool. I actually have come to love them. They're a pain. Definitely way different than writing books. But I started writing scripts, and then I kind of got the itch. I was like, I should really just write a book. Like, this is kind of low-key been something I've wanted to do for the longest time. And I'd actually written a book before. It never got published. And thank God it never got published, because I look back at what I wrote when I was 15, 16. I was like, ooh, this was, I'm glad this never saw the light of day, boy. This was trash. But so I had written books before, just things that never got released that no one on earth besides me will ever see. But yeah, I was like, I really want to just get back into writing. So I was trying to think of ideas, what to write and what should the book be about. And I feel like the first inclination is to always start off big. I'm going to write this big, epic novel, something with all these characters and, I don't know, magical powers, something crazy, really expansive. And then that just wasn't really clicking, and had to sit back down. It's like, all right, maybe I'm thinking too big. Maybe I need to do, sometimes less is more. So had to dial it back, had to pull it back, go back to the drawing board. And I had to think, what is something, and I started to think not short term, but a shorter length novel. Instead of doing like something that's like Harry Potter big, what's something that I can give people, that I can write somewhat fairly quick. It won't take me extremely long to write it, but it'll still be, a good amount of content. And it'll be something easy for people to ingest, and it won't take them that long to read it. So that I'm not, because I understand the attention age now. I say this as I ramble on for minutes at a time. But I wanted to give people something that they could just give a quick read, and then they can put it down and go on with the rest of their day. And then, when it's time for another volume, I'll hit you with another one. Because I understand, man, this is a rapid age. People move. You don't got time to sit down and read a 500-page book. I mean, maybe some people do, but I'm not going to give that to you, because I don't want to write that. So I came up with the idea for the Oddball Chronicles. And I just kind of came to the point where it's like, I just want to write something relatable. What's more relatable than life? Like, just regular schmegular life, which on the surface level sounds simple. And I mean, it is. But it's simple, but it's a lot at the same time. Like, everybody lives life. We all go through pitfalls and downfalls, victories, defeats, triumphs, and the worst of the worst, the best of the best, everything in between. And I wanted to kind of write something to capture all of that. So I came up with the idea for the Oddball Chronicles, which I kind of just want this series, and this is a series, there will be more of these, to represent just like growth. So I just wanted to write something where I wanted to follow a person and just witness them go through just like the growing pains of life, and them just really kind of get beat around as they're trying to just maneuver through life and just become a better person. And also I wanted to write something that not necessarily was, some of it is inspired by my personal life, but a lot of it are things I've seen other people go through. And a lot of these are just, a lot of the stories that you'll see are things that, mistakes that I've made or I've seen other people make, that I kind of wish, like, man, I wish somebody would have pulled me to the side before I did that when I was younger, so I would have never had to go through that. So I kind of just really want the series to represent, like I said, just growth of a person, somebody growing and maturing, going through the downfalls and the pitfalls of life as a young person, and eventually reaching adulthood and trying to maneuver through that, and that being a whole new battle. So that's kind of what I wanted this book to just represent, just growth of a person. But I wanted to deliver it in a different way. And this is kind of where I'll start mentioning my influences. Two things that really, really heavily influenced this book. Two cartoons that I hold near and dear, hold near and dear to my heart. Hey Arnold and the Boondocks. These are the main two books, main two cartoons that really influenced a lot of this book in terms of how it was written, character choices that I decided to go with, and like overall tone of the book. I've always, aside from the Boondocks just being like hilarious, I've always appreciated like the rawness of that show. As funny as it is, as wild as it can be, it has just this really raw honesty about it that I always, as a fan and as a writer, always liked and always gravitated towards, because that show did not pull punches. Like when they wanted to go somewhere with a topic, like they went there and they did not like hold back. And I always appreciated that about that show. So I wanted to like borrow some of that tone a little bit and kind of put my own little twist on it, but still just have it be something really raw and really honest. And Hey Arnold, I always loved. I felt like in a lot of Hey Arnold, even as a kid, like you were always pulling something from an episode. It wasn't, and you could say that with the Boondocks too, but I think for Hey Arnold, a lot of times, like, episodes had messages and themes that they were trying to get across. And another thing I really loved about Hey Arnold, which really inspired the characters I decided to go with, were like Hey Arnold was, if you think about it, was one of the most like diverse cartoons in terms of characters, in terms of like personalities. You had all different races represented, ethnicities, body shapes, personalities. It was so many different just kinds of people on that show, and everybody had like their own distinct personality, and they all managed to coexist in this their little small part of the world. So I wanted to kind of combine those two influences into a book. So I'm sorry I ramble a lot. I say all that to say this is what the Oddball Chronicles pretty much, those two influences shaped kind of like my idea of what I wanted the Oddball Chronicles to be and represent. And I guess now I'll just get into the story and the characters, and you'll kind of see how things, correlate and match up, so on and so forth. But the Oddball Chronicles follows my main character, Omar Odd, who is a transfer high school student. He lived in a city called Ingleside, and then he moved to a city called Ridgewood in his junior year of high school. So he's the new kid on the block. Omar, as a personality, he's very nonchalant kind of about things. He's kind of just like that quiet kid in the back of the classroom who kind of really doesn't want to be bothered. He's just kind of here to be here, and he kind of, I'm going to be here because I kind of have to, and then I just kind of want to go about my day, and I would prefer if you just kind of left me alone. But he's not really a mean person. He kind of puts on this front that he doesn't want to be bothered, but if you talk to him, he'll open up. But he's still an introvert, I would say, in every sense of the word. So he gets thrust into this new environment that he kind of doesn't want to be in, but he's trying to make it work. He's trying to do what he can to get comfortable, in this new environment. And eventually he does come to meet friends. And as he starts to make friends, he starts to have these new life experiences. He starts to make some questionable decisions, and he's just going through life. He's really just, at 17, he's trying to figure this whole life thing out, because he feels like there's something more than what he's experiencing. It's almost like he's trying to search for something, and in this search, he's just going through the growing pains, trying to like figure out that missing piece of life that he's searching for in his own little witty, kind of way. And across his journey, even like I said, him being an introvert, him not really talking to a ton of people, he still ends up meeting friends. I won't say how, because I don't want to spoil the story, but there's an event that happens to him which pretty much causes him in a roundabout way to make a new cast of friends. And I should also mention Omar is an African American character. His parents, of course, also African American. His dad's name is Otis Odd. His mom's name is Claudia Odd. And I picked Otis because it's just like the perfect old man name. I feel like that just represents, like, you think of an old person, an older black guy. Otis is like the first name that pops in your head. So I just thought that was funny to me. So I was like, yeah, his dad's definitely gonna be named Otis. Omar is kind of like his parents in a way, but also not. There's some personality traits that he borrows from them, but others that he doesn't. Otis, kind of like Omar, they're both kind of witty, and they get in like these little playful, like, verbal sparring matches. But Otis, just via his old man experience, kind of has Omar beat in the verbal sparring department. But that's kind of where Omar gets his humor from, is kind of from his dad. But his dad, personality-wise, is a much more outgoing. He's a little more out there. He's a little more wild. And Omar himself is very, like I said, he's really kind of reserved and really just nonchalant. His mother, Claudia Odd, is very smart. She's a librarian. I should also mention Omar's dad, Otis, owns a buffet restaurant called Papa Belly, and his mom, Claudia, is a librarian at a college. And his mom is like just a walking hub of information. And she also is kind of witty, but I think she's a bit more straightforward with her talking. She's kind of the one who keeps Omar in check. But what I wanted to do with both of his parents, and something that I try to do when I create conflicts for Omar, is that his parents teach in a way that it's not so much that we're going to tell you what to do. They give him advice along the way. They'll let him know if he's walking into a situation that he shouldn't be getting into. But they don't necessarily rescue him off top. They kind of let Omar do his thing. And as long as it doesn't get too deep, they'll let him go. And because they accept that Omar walks his own little path. He's in his own little world, marching to the beat of his own little drum, and he's just kind of gonna do what he's gonna do. So they'll give him warnings. They'll let him know what the deal is. They always are extremely honest with him, but they let him walk his own path. And they just figure the best way for him to learn is for him to just kind of go through it, if he's not willing to take our advice. And then if it gets too deep, if things go too far left, we'll pull him back center. But that's kind of like the relationship that Omar and his parents have. They're still loving parents, but they let him be his own person. They let him do his own thing, and as long as he's not going too far off the rails, they just kind of let him go. And if he does, they'll pull him back, and they'll set him back straight. But that's kind of the relationship that his parents has. Other characters you will meet, There's a character named Kaz, entire name Kazushiro Yamamoto, but they call him Kaz for short. He is he's the wild man of the crew. As you can judge by his name, he's Asian, Japanese to be specific. Kaz is just he's a good person at heart. His intentions are in the right place, but he's kind of he's a wild card. Like, he's kind of all over the place. He doesn't necessarily think before he acts. He just kind of jumps into stuff, and he has a really just big personality. He's when he steps in the room, you know he's there. He's loyal sometimes. I won't say to a fault, but as wild as he is, as crazy as he is, he's like the most down person. He's that guy on the crew. Like, good or bad, whether you're right or wrong, he's there with you every step of the way. Even if it means he's got to throw hands, if he's got to fight, he'll do whatever he has to do to look out for you, because that's just kind of just who he is. So you'll meet Kaz. He was one of the funnest characters to write in this book, because I felt like with him, I just had so much free range to just kind of, I can just write him and let him, he can kind of just go. He can just do whatever. He's so spontaneous that I can just put him in all of these crazy situations, but due to his personality, like, it makes sense, because he's just, like I said, good person at heart, but dude is out of control. He doesn't know when to tone it back sometimes. But you'll meet him, other characters. I'll just introduce you guys pretty much to the main core, that you'll come to know, that you'll read about in the book. Zuri Majors, another character that you guys will meet. She is an athlete of athletes. She's like a prodigy athlete. Basketball, track and field, soccer. She's extremely competitive. She's one of, a lot of these characters are around the same age. Omar is 17. Kaz is 17. Zuri is also 17. These are all juniors in high school. And what I wanted to explore with her is, she kind of uses, it's kind of hard to walk this line because I can't spoil anything. She uses her competitiveness and her kind of fiery personality. I won't say it's a front, because she's about that life. Like, she does not like to lose in anything. Even when it comes to video games. Like, if you pick up a stick, she's trying to run you off. If you get on the court, she's trying to shoot you out the gym. But she kind of has her own thing going on, which I'll explore with her, in terms of she uses that competitiveness as kind of a way to mask other things. And I'll leave that at that. I don't want to give away too much. But as I explore her character more, you'll see why she is the way he is. Or why she is the way she is, sorry. But she's one of the focal points also of the story. Next character is Russell Hall, aka they just call him Russ. He is the youngest of the group. He's a sophomore at 16 years old. Did I mention that Zuri was black? I assumed y'all knew Zuri was black because of the name, but Russell Hall, he is the next character in the book. Like I said, he's the youngest of the crew. He's kind of he's like the brainchild, not in the street smart kind of way, more so book smart, even though Russ doesn't try a lot. But everybody knows how capable he is. But you'll see in the first volume of this book that he kind of has a lot on his plate. And it kind of affects all areas of his life. So in school, he doesn't try as hard as he should, but other things will be revealed about him that you'll see how smart he is, and kind of like the passions that he has. But he kind of gravitates to Omar in a way, which is weird because if you were to look at them from the outside looking in, just on a surface level, they don't look like they would really like hang out. Like I said, Omar is just very kind of reserved. He doesn't really talk to a ton of people if he doesn't have to. Skinny, average size, black 17-year-old who just walks around with his headphones, and his little mini afro, kind of just going about his way. And Russ is, he's the chubby Caucasian of the group. Chubby kid, frizzled hair, kind of dresses in his own little way, I should say. he has his own little thing going on, but him and Omar, in a weird way, kind of gravitate toward each other. They're a lot more similar than they think they are, and he's one of the characters. On the first volume, I give everybody somewhat of a surface level, but Russ you'll get to know a bit more. He's one of the first characters I kind of really dived into in terms of like backstory. So you get to kind of understand why he is the way he is. And he and Omar kind of form a nice little bond. And the last core member of the crew, Tiago Almeida, this is big bro of the crew. He's the only senior at 18 years old. I kind of wrote him as an ode. I wanted to represent, with all these characters, I wanted to represent something. And the reason I picked all these different races and kind of people was because kind of that's how I grew up. Like I've been to a lot of different kinds of schools. I've met a lot of different kind of people. I come from a military family. Well, my pops is since retired then, but I used to live on a lot of military bases as a kid, so I met people from all walks of life. And I've been to, quote unquote, rich schools or, the good schools on the other side. I've been to the, the quote unquote bad schools. I've been to schools that were almost all white. I've been to schools that were almost all black. I've seen a lot, and I wanted this book to represent that. And Tiago Almeida is a Brazilian character in my book. Or I guess I'll say Afro-Brazilian, if there's such a term. But if you read any of my profiles, my author profiles, I put that I am a mixed martial arts enthusiast, and I kind of wanted Tiago to kind of represent that influence in my life, because I love mixed martial arts. A lot of the fighters that I grew up watching and that I watch now were all Brazilian, and I made him in a way. I remember, and I don't mean this to come off as ignorant, but I remember like watching MMA way back in the day and seeing Brazilians who I thought were black. And I don't mean to like play semantics, because I get it. If you trace lineages, kind of all come from the same place, but you know what I mean. And I'll just say like Anderson Silva. I remember one of the first times I seen Anderson Silva, and I saw a black bald dude with a mustache. I was like, oh, he just looks like a regular dude. And then I hear him speak. I'm like, what is this accent? I'm a young kid when I first see this, so I don't really know a whole bunch about dialects in other places of the world. I'm pretty ignorant at that age to things like that. So that was just really interesting to me. The first time like hearing Anderson Silva speak, I'm like, what is that accent? But I say that to say Tiago was derived of just my influences for mixed martial arts. So that is kind of Tiago's hobby. He is an aspiring mixed martial artist. Like I said, he's big bro of the crew, the oldest one. He is a bit like Kaz, but slightly more, I would say, mature. he kind of just looks out after everybody. He's the only one in the crew who actually drives, so he's normally the man behind the wheel. Like I said, he pretty much looks out for everybody, tries to make sure, everybody's good, but at the same time he's got his, he's trying to get his fight career off the ground at a young age. And he, personality-wise, kind of cocky. Some may say borderline arrogant, but he tries to play it cool, but he definitely kind of has he has a little edge about him. Like I said, kind of like Kaz, he can be a bit on the wild side. He's not really afraid to put himself out there. But unlike Kaz, at least most of the time, he knows when to dial it back. Like he knows when to not put himself in a bad situation. Unlike Kaz, who will just kind of he'll just kind of fly off the handle and not really think anything about it. But yeah, like I said, he's just kind of big bro of the group. And all of these characters, I'm in the first volume, and that's how I wrote this book. It'll be in volumes, and I list them as episodes also. And the reason I decided to list them as episodes is because I kind of want the reader to think of this as like a cartoon. Like, not necessarily every story will be connected to the story that precedes it or the one that's before it or after it. Some of them are literally just, they're standalone instances, while other ones do connect in some kind of way. The relationships with the characters will always grow and be consistent throughout each little episode. But like I said, not every single episode is necessarily like taking place like the day after the one like before it or things like that. So like I said, some of them are connected together. Some of them are literally, they're just standalone instances that happen by themselves. So that's kind of how I wrote it. So in the first volume, most of these characters you'll pretty much get to know just on a surface level. It's just an introduction to kind of warm you up to who these people are, kind of what they represent, on like a basic level. As I'm working on volume 2, I'll start getting a lot deeper into personalities, and a lot more you'll get to see why they are the way they are. But as for now, because it's just an introduction, this first volume will just kind of get you warmed up to who these characters are, and kind of just get a little sense of what they're about. Themes that I wanted to touch on. Man, it's kind of hard to say this without spoiling. There are instances where the status quo, I guess you could say, quote unquote, is challenged. Themes of friendships and the intricacies of that. It's really hard for me to get into specifics without kind of spoiling. But like I said, a lot of this first volume and really everything that'll precede it in some way, shape, or form will just kind of focus, like I said, just the growing pains of life. Just friendships, relationships, job struggles. I really just want to show the process of somebody growing from young adulthood to adulthood and just having mistakes, learning from mistakes, and then trying to improve from there, and kind of put my own little quirky, I guess, twist on it. So you'll get to see Omar grow with the help of his group of friends, who are also going through their own little situations here and there, which will be, revealed as these characters continue to grow and they continue to build together. It's just everybody's just, it's literally just like life was in high school, man. Like, we were all just young kids. None of us, we thought we knew what we were doing, but none of us really knew what we were doing. We were just kind of out here, just kind of going crazy and not knowing it. And this is just kind of representing that. Like, we're just these kids are just trying to figure it out. And as they get older, they'll learn, they'll grow, they'll think they got it figured out, and they'll find out, there's still much more to be learned, in this wild ride of life. And it's just them going through those growing pains. It's them trying to just become better people through all of these experiences that they have. And like I said, I can't give away specifics because I just kind of want people to read it, but you'll get a sense of where I'm going with this book in terms of themes and things I'll be addressing. I think you'll be able to pick up on it, because I think I write in a way that I want you to know what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to write to go over your head. So I think people will be able to pick up on it. You'll be able to pick up on it pretty quick. I believe so. Literally after like the first couple episodes, I think you'll get an idea of what I'm kind of trying to convey with these stories in terms of, characters going through growing pains. But also I wanted to touch on just things I've seen in the world that I myself thought would be good, worth a mention. That I kind of put these characters in those situations to kind of address certain topics and things of that nature. But I wanted to make sure I kind of did it in somewhat of like a comedic way. I definitely wrote this. I don't want to write something that's just like extremely depressing. So kind of the reason I love Omar so much is even when situations are terrible, I try to put somewhat of a comedic element into it so that it's not just extremely depressing. Like I want to put that comedic edge so you can laugh at it, but you can still sit back and be like, man, I did that same thing when I was like 17 and it was really stupid. And that's kind of why you can sit back and laugh at it. But I just kind of wanted to put a comedic twist on the process of going through growing pains, of going through life, and even addressing like very serious issues that I see throughout the world that just kind of bother me one way or another. So I hope that made sense. I feel like I said a lot of words that may not have meant anything, but that's just kind of the sense of what the Oddball Chronicles is. It's literally just a story of maturation and growth with my own little quirky twist and turn on things. That's kind of just what this represents. But I want it to be diverse. Like I said, you're going to meet a lot of different characters, different kinds of people from different backgrounds, different walks of life. And I don't throw that diverse word out to just be like a buzzword. Like I said, I really, the way I grew up, I've met a lot of different people, a lot of different kinds of personalities, and I kind of wanted all of those to be represented in one way or fashion. So really hope you guys enjoy this. Like I said, pre-orders are up now at the time that you can hear my voice on this recording. So go give it a look. Let me quick tell you, just so you know how long the book is. It is 126 pages. So not too long. I don't think. I think a lot of people, if you're a fast reader, you probably get through that pretty quick. Some of y'all might breeze through that in a day. I'm not sure, but I want to get you in and out. I'm not gonna keep you around here for extra long time. We get you in, get a quick little giggle, little laugh. Maybe you'll learn something. Stay entertained for the episodes of the story, which are there's 6 episodes. Should also mention 6 episodes in this first volume. All different topics, almost different topics. And like I said, some of these episodes tie into each other. Some of them just kind of like little standalone instances. But from mood, it ranges from topics that are serious to topics that are a bit more lighthearted. But whether they're lighthearted or serious, they all, like I said, kind of have this little comedic, quirky undertone to them. To, like I said, I want you to laugh. I don't want this to be like a super depressing read, but I still hope that people pull just something from it, anything from it. And luckily, from the few people who I've shared this with, so some of y'all have seen samples. I've gotten some pretty solid feedback on what I've written, so I hope you guys really enjoy it, man. I apologize for this. I hope this all made sense. I said a lot of words. I don't know if anything connected, but I hope you guys really enjoy this. So November 12th, the Oddball Chronicles, Volume 1. It'll be out. Loan me $1. That's all it costs. As always, man, you can catch me on SoundCloud at the Dojo Talk Podcast. I'll have a link for that below. You can catch me on WordPress at The Serial Sensei. I'll leave a link to that below. You can send me questions at dojotalkpodcast.com. I use that to accept my questions because that inbox is normally pretty empty, so you won't get lost in an abyss of other emails if you send me questions through there. If you follow me or you're friends with me on Facebook, updates will always be posted. If you follow me on Tumblr, updates will always be posted. If you hit me up on Twitter, updates will always be posted. So all relevant links will be in the description below. And that's all I got. So that's the Oddball Chronicles. Hope you guys enjoy. Click that pre-order link. Loan me $1, please. Thank you for listening. Till next time, I will catch you guys later.